These two designs were created on the same day on the same computer by the same person using the exact same software, but one looks cheap and the other looks like a high-end professional masterpiece. If you're designing landscapes, this video is about to change everything for you. I made both of these designs in Real-Time Landscaping Architect 2025. This software is already powerful, but most people don't know how to get the absolute best results from it. I'm about to show you over 20 powerful tricks, strategies, and workarounds that will take your designs from being just okay to absolutely stunning. These techniques will blow your clients' minds, make you look like the design expert, and most importantly, help you sell more projects at higher prices. Most people don't even realize how much better their designs could look, but by the end of this video, you'll have those skills to make any landscape design look 10 times more expensive. So stick around to the end because I'm not just going to tell you about these tricks, I'm showing you step by step exactly how to do it. Let's jump in. Okay, so this is our plan. I modeled up this house and everything with it so far. So our first tip is to use nicer plants. That's going to be one of the biggest things we can do in this example here to make this design look better. See, these plants, they don't look bad and they're actually adapting with the shade there, but as we rotate, you can see that it's just a two-dimensional plant. And the more plants we look at, especially these lavender here, look how, like, they don't look bad, I guess, like that, even though they kind of do. When I pan around in a video, someone's going to obviously tell that these plants are basically like 2D cutouts of paper, basically. So the best thing we can do is go get nicer plants. You can do this by a couple means. You can go to landscape, go to plants. You can pick, instead of these picture plants, which are two-dimensional, you can pick models. These are actually models of plants that are more, I'll drop one in here so you can see it. They're more 3D based. But see, even that plant, it doesn't look great to me. See how there's different angles on it, and it just doesn't look natural. So the next step up would be adding a plant and going to these ultra res plants where we can grab one of these, maybe this American beech. And I'll suck this down so you can see it better. But see, from a distance, it still looks kind of choppy. It still looks a little computer generated, and I don't like that. As we get closer, things do look better. But I don't like how it looks from farther away, and I think we could just do better. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab some plants from a free source called SketchUp's 3D Warehouse. Let's dive in there. Okay, so this is SketchUp's 3D Warehouse. It's 3dwarehouse.sketchup.com. This is the place to go. So even if I want to, you can type in any plant that you're after, but we can also just say tree, for instance, and search. You do have to make an account on here. It's totally free. And here's what you do. You can find trees that you like. And let's say, here's the deal. You can find this tree. See these trees? It tells you details about this. So it says model info and it says polygon count. And this is how many polygons are used, how many 3D pieces are used to make these models. So there's 7 trees and there's 7 polygons, which means each one is going to be two-dimensional, not three-dimensional. That's not what we're wanting. So what we do want is we want these ones that show you that they're three-dimensional rich. They're poly rich, 1,500 per tree. This one's really high, 66,000, 75,000. So you can tell that these models, the more polys, the more realistic they're going to be. The downfall is that more polys also means the slower it could make your computer if you don't have a really nice computer. So we'll meet in the middle and find one like this guy. Let's see what this is. This just says tree. So far we'll download it. Download SketchUp file. I'll download another one just to be safe, just to show you. This one looks pretty good. We're going to download this modified broadleaf tree, SketchUp file, download. Done. Alright, so let's jump in here. What we go up here is go to Tools, Model Import Wizard. You can go in here. I would tell that this is a plant. You can go into your downloads and select the tree we just downloaded. We're going to enter that in. Here's our tree. Sometimes these things don't get very tall, so you have to hit this button, ignore growth limits. And then we're having a better tree already. See how much more realistic, even from a distance, that tree is? So much better. Let's do the other one. Model import, plant, got it. Senza. And you can title these trees different things. Sometimes I'll pick a plant that looks like another plant and label it what I want exactly, and also add the scientific name so you don't need to add that in there every single time. So see how these are just better models? So what we're going to do is we're first going to go through this plan and change out all of these plants. Like these grasses, I'm going to move these into from a plant that's on my favorites, and we're going to find a nice actual grass model. We can do one of those. See how nice that looks? Something like that. So if we go through here and we add all of these nice plant models in here, you can see how easily we go from making this look not realistic to realistic. Or these lavenders. Let's figure out these lavenders. Let's go to my favorites. These are plants I've custom imported in. And just to show you, you can go to this custom tabs under models and it shows you all the plants that you've imported from SketchUp. So we're going to go into my favorites. I favorite the ones that I commonly use. And we're going to grab this one. This lavender is so much better. Watch. Oh, look how good. Look how good that looks. So I say I fix all the rest and we speed it up so you can see the rest in about 10 seconds. And we move on to your next step to making your designs look 10 times more realistic. Alright, so I went through here and you can see all these plants I changed out with the same plant, just more detail. Look how much more detail that looks. Even from this view, you can tell these just look worlds better. See how nice? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to leave it at that. Now, I have a quick tip for you to find really nice plants. If you don't want to download plants one by one, there's someone I met that sells plants. He creates plants exactly for this program, Real-Time Landscape Architect 2025. Okay, so the website where you can go to buy the nicest plants that I have found so far is this one. It's https ://3dartistry .gumroad.com/I think that is /GBWKDL. So it might be searchable too. The guy's name is Adam, and he created all of these plants. Look at all these up here. Look how big and dense this inventory of plants is. These are most plants that will work in most regions across the United States, and they're full of color and detail, and they're excellent. So he charges like 80 bucks. You do not need this, but it has sure helped me out and sure made my designs level up to the next level. So hope it helps, and if you want it, go grab it. Okay, so now that that's all set, we're going to move on to step number 2, which is getting your sunset and your shadows correct. Okay, so in photography, there's this thing called the golden hour, and that's when things just tend to look better during sunsets and sunrises. So the shadows actually help, and it helps bounce the light around in a more elegant way. So this is the same exact photo. This is not my photo. I found it online. This is the same exact photo. One is taken at noon, roughly, and one is taken near sunset. And you can see it's the same building, same angle, same everything. The only thing that changed is the lighting. So we're going to play that exact same game within our lighting in our plans, and that's going to help things look a whole lot better. Okay, so right now you can adjust this by going to this little sun icon while we're in the perspective view down here. Sun icon, and we can adjust the time of day. I'll move this aside so you can see as we go. So right now we're at noon. I'm going to start around 6 a.m. so you can see sunrise. That looks pretty good. Obviously that already looks better, already looks more realistic. We can move it all the way up to 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then all the way down to like sunset. I don't think sunset looks amazing in this program or direct sunrise, but a couple hours before or after that looks really nice. So for now, I'm just going to leave it maybe right here. The lighting already looks better. Hit OK. I think that looks fantastic. Okay, so the next thing, step 3, is going to be what's called global illumination. And what we're going to do is go into settings. And as you can see, I'll show you this now. So as you can see, the shade is just simple. It's one shade darker than the rest of everything else. It's like lighter, darker, lighter, darker. But in real life, that's not how things actually look. So this program has something really cool called global illumination. And it realizes where all the sun is coming from all around at which angles and how it's bouncing in here and bouncing this way and bouncing off this grill and hitting this wall. And it angles and makes that all happen for you. So it makes a more realistic thing. While we're in here, we can also do accurate reflections, which is good. Look at the windows. Watch it change. See how it automatically looks more real with the windows reflecting correctly? We're also going to add a global illumination and sunlight lens flare. Some people don't like that. I like it because it looks more real. And then sun rays too. I like the sun rays. So I add everything the whole way through. The only thing I don't add global illumination is the movie just yet, and I'll explain why here in a little bit. So see how it looks better already, but global illumination, if you just let it go and let the mouse not move, then it starts to take effect in about 10 to 15 seconds. If you see the patio's getting darker, the chair looks more 3D, and now things look more realistic. Do you see how that changed? And you're going to see it undo as soon as I move the mouse. See how it undid? Now let's watch it here from this angle. So I won't touch the mouse, I'll just let the program be without anything moving, and you can see the darkness creep in, but it makes it look so much more realistic and adds shadowing the way it should be. See how that works? Really cool. So that's step number 3. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is step 4. And step 4 is to find nicer furniture and nicer objects from SketchUp's warehouse again. So see how this bench, it just doesn't look right. And I tried with the stools that are in this software, and these don't look bad, but they don't look world class. And the more realistic I can make things, the better we're going to be. So let's dive into SketchUp. Alrighty, so we're back in a 3D warehouse. I'll bring you to the start so you can see what it looks like. Again, this is totally free. You have to make you have to give them your email address and sign up, but it's totally free. So in here we can just say, I'll just say like patio furniture. So we go in here and look, we already have nicer furniture than we had before. This stuff is so nice. I mean, everything you can think of. You can type in outdoor couch, you can type in umbrella, tabletop, chair, Adirondack chair, whatever you're wanting. So this place has it all. So I download all my models, and the nice thing is, once you put them in this program, they're in that custom folder for free, and you can just browse through the custom folder. Okay, so let's start by deleting this. Don't want that. These stools, I can hit L and select all these stools and delete these. So here we are. Now we can go into accessory, click over here, and go into my customs, and you can see I've imported tons and tons of things like this. Just tons of chairs, TVs, everything you can think of. So I'm going to select things from here and build my plan to be better. See, we can already put a couch here. It reads that as a patio, so we can jump this in, and automatically it's already looking better. But to save time, I already picked out couches and stuff, and I threw them back here. So we're gonna add these and drag them over so they're in our program the way we want it to be. Okay, so the table I'm going to put back here. See how good the table looks there? That looks right. These chairs, these stools, I can hit L, select all these, and drag these over there and add them over here. So the stools already are looking better too, wouldn't you say? Now, let's do these two objects. We're going to push these in here. And the thing is, the way I built this house is that's a patio up there, so I have to actually drag these and pull these down and adjust it to where it makes that little rug in there disappear. So, here's our new furniture. And if you look, it already looks, this plan is looking so much better already. Okay, so step number 5 is to remove the skyline. So the skyline is these trees in the background. All of these, see all these trees back here? They just suck. And we can adjust those. And honestly, they're just making this look like a computer program and not a good high quality program. The high quality programs either have real stuff in the back or they have nothing. So my choice is to have nothing back there, and you'll see why. So we can actually adjust that by clicking on the sun over here, going to skyline, and unchecking that box. See how much better that already looks? I feel a relief just when that happens. So you can also choose different ones. Let's say you're in Alaska, maybe that week, or you're in the city, we can do a city skyline, but I don't like any of these. You can also move the size down to where it's barely hidden in the back, and that's a lot better, but I just don't like it in general. I think it looks better without that. Okay, so my next tip is number 6, where we're going to remove the wind and the wildlife. So when you create a video or take a nice screenshot of this plan, I'll enter the walkthrough mode to show you what's going to happen. I don't know if you can hear it, but I can hear a wind chime, I can hear birds. So it comes stock with the sound on, which sounds horrible. It sounds like there's a wedding bell in the back and some jungle bird. And usually, if you look around, there's usually butterflies. Like, I don't know where the butterflies went, but usually there's tons of butterflies that fly across the screen, and it gets annoying. So we're gonna go in here, go to real-time walkthrough. I'm gonna crank down the wind, crank down the wildlife, and crank down the sound volume. You can add sound here if you'd like, and sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is import textures, get the right textures involved. So this patio looks great, but it doesn't look amazing. So I'm gonna go into this patio, and we're gonna edit the material that's used. And they do come with better options. They do come with different pavers. Like even one of these would be an upgrade. You can see it already looks better. The Belgard ones are really nice. That's what I would lead you to. If we go in here, I can select like these ones. And honestly, that looks so much better just changing that texture out. And we're gonna do that across the program. So this unit, we can move this to be like a more scratched up concrete, looks better, a little darker, a little more contrast. Same, we can make this, instead of this concrete, make it like that. And it's already gonna look a lot better, as you can see. So we added those textures. And another tip is that there's a website that helps you download other textures. For instance, like this boulder, I can go in here and grab a custom texture I have. Oh, here it is. Custom, I've imported this boulder texture, so it has a little bit more detail if you like grays. I like the brown on this particular one, but just so you know, you can do that. Okay, so the way you get even more customized textures is by going to this website. There's others too, but this one's the best one I've found. It's sketchuptextureclub.com. You have to make a free account. I think you're allowed like 10 texture downloads every day, like every 24 hours, and that's fantastic. So that's all that I need. If we go into textures, you can see we have granite textures. There's tons. We can search everything. Like we can search in rock and see it gives you stone textures. Look how much better these stone textures are. So you can do that. You can go into architecture. You can find bricks. You can find colored bricks. There's a lot of ads on this website, but like you can find tons of nice, look at the bricks you can find. If you're building a cool outdoor patio and there's old bricks in it, you can model that up if the customer wants that. I've gone in here, you can get concrete. I'd use most of my concrete that I draw on are usually from imports of this too. See how much nicer that concrete looks? So usually I can click on this and I download this option, the 1250 by 1250, and you can import that into your program. In case you need to know, you can go down to your search box and type in real-time landscape architect and find your folder for that. We'll open that up, and then there's custom data, so you can go in here and edit things this way. So you can go in here and you can find, like if it's a rock, you can go in here, and in there's a custom folder, and you'll grab that download and drop it into this custom folder. Or if it's a Region, if you want to put it in a region, I would go in this region place and drag the download. I would open up another window like this with downloads, drag that custom file into that custom folder right there. And then automatically from there, when you go to do a new region, well, actually no. If you click on a region, you're going to find that there's a little custom tab that pulls up and you can see that there's concrete there, or there's whatever texture you imported in. Okay, so the other thing I have is to add all the house details. This sounds obvious, but it goes a long way. So this is actually a different detail than this. So normally if I draw a patio, it's going to look like that. But instead, I grab an object, I make it a custom box kind of, and then I can pull things like this down. So this ceiling actually has a tongue and groove ceiling, or it has a white textured sheetrock ceiling. Some homes have different columns. I would model the columns up per se in a better way. All the gates, this wall, I actually added a slope back here. That way it matches what's in real life. There's a bunch of little details. What's nice is you can add downspouts. Like a lot of these homes have different downspouts too. So like I basically go in and do anything I can to add the house lights in wherever they're at, to add different things in here to make the house look exactly like the house that the customer sees. And that's going to make you look a lot better in the end. Okay, so this next one is a big one. It's perhaps my biggest one yet. So I will be honest, I hate this green all the way around. And I can't tell you how many customers of mine have said, oh, I wish I had that much lawn around my house, or some other dumb comment like that. And what it also does is, see how the windows, even though they have accurate reflections, they still show a bunch of green back there? That's why the green back here sucks, is it makes your windows and the reflectiveness of everything green. Even down in here you can see some green reflecting off that from the program. So we can go into settings and go to terrain settings and move that to be white, black, or otherwise. I just like moving it to be brown because I'm out here in the desert. But now that it's brown, see how the windows aren't green anymore? And it actually enhanced the way things look from a window perspective. Plus, as you go in the walkthrough video, you can see that when I go down to an eye level, the brown doesn't catch your eye like the green does. So the brown is going to always be a better option. Another option is by going to settings, and if you really want to highlight the design and make things look more modern, you can go to all. And I have chosen before something like, we'll say this one, and I've brought the color and everything out to where it looks pretty much white. And that way, now everything, like if you want to showcase just the design, like now just the house and the design are modeled. We could erase this, that's not needed. Now just the house is shown, if that makes sense. So I don't like that as much. There's times and instances I use it a lot, but the one I mostly use is when I get this background to be back to tan. I think tan is going to be the best looking one, and that's why I favorited these, because I use them more often. And there we go. Already looks so much better, especially in the windows. That's going to make things look far more real for you. Okay, the next one is one of my favorites. The one thing here now that looks bad is the grass. The grass, it doesn't look horrible, but it doesn't look great. So my biggest thing is to do two things with this grass, especially now that we have the 2025 version of this program. This also works well in the 2023 version, but for now, I don't like this neon green color. I'm going to move it to being like this grass 54, and already that looks more realistic in my mind. If I go down to favorites, let's double check. Yeah, it's grass 54 that I use a lot. And what I like to do is make the grass 3D. By simply clicking this button, you can see the grass now just went to 3D. It looks much more realistic. And you can edit the size. You can make it thick. You can make it thin. You can make it medium. I like the thick on this one. I don't have a preference. I just change it per design. If the design's huge, I usually leave the grass taller. If the design's small, I usually leave it shorter. So for now Now that looks like a real lawn. Now it looks like a lawn. That's how it should look. That's a little nice piece of turf in there. I do this for lawns and for turf. Maybe we'll do very short. That way it just looks a little nicer. No, I like short. So make things 3D. Don't be scared to make your lawns 3D and make them a realistic color. The program, unfortunately, makes most of your lawns by default like this crazy, just neon green color, and it doesn't work good. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look real, especially in the end result I'm going to show you. Okay, so the next one is going to be the shadow quality. So we have good shadows in here, but we can adjust it further, and it's something important for you to know. So you can go up to settings, and we go all the way down here to program settings, and we can go to appearance. Oh, wait. No, graphics. That's it. So shadow quality. Usually it's at like low or normal. We can bump that all the way up to maximum, which is awesome. Same with the global illumination quality. I like to maximize it out. I also have a very nice computer. So see what works best. With the grass quality, you can make that change too. So use these, test them out and see what works best for your computer and for your end result. I like things to take a little longer on my computer and maximize the quality I deliver to my designs and my customers, and it just looks better. Okay, so the next thing is something that's going to impress your clients, especially if you're meeting them in person and helping them realize that what you designed is their exact sun schedule. So you can go into the settings for that over here in environment settings by clicking on the sun. The cool thing is you can, of course, adjust your north-south direction, and you'll see that changes the shadows on the plan. Now we can do this even more advanced and say use location, and we can enter in an exact location of the house. I found a random address on the internet, and I'm going to try it. This one's in Scottsdale. Okay, see it notified it. It found it in Scottsdale. This is not the real address. It's just some made up one that I found on Google Maps. But so what we can do is we can actually find out the way the sun looks on that patio during a certain date. So if we want to see how it's going to look in June 4th, we can see that, and it's going to update the sun. See, it updated it. So you can tell them exactly what things are going to look like at which day of the exact year. Now, you do have to find the exact north-south by using Google Maps, looking up this address, or just when you're there meeting, take note of where north is. But look, we can just edit this to be north and tell it where the location is, and this program knows exactly where things are, and it will help the shadows be accurate. By the way, do you see how nice this design is starting to look? Okay, now the next detail I have is to add little details. Let me see, I had something here for you. I think I had a pot. Yeah, so little details in the yard, like see I have this little pot, and like I can, I can drag this up and actually bring a pot out of here. So basically the more details you add to the house, yes, and also a landscape environment, yes, too. Like little things like that are gonna make things look like you thought things through. I like this little tray here, like the wine bottle. There's times if I find someone's a sports fan, I add something that's a sports fan theme that I find on the SketchUp Warehouse. So things like that go a long way. Next up, the next thing you can do is add realistic sizes of things. So this is a water feature. It's not a realistic size. It's not going to look good in person. So instead, I'm going to just delete those, and I'm going to go in water feature and find a better water fountain. So if I scroll all the way to the top, I like this blue one a lot for this particular environment. And the thing is, it looks small, so everything needs to look like it matches. And see, to me this looks a little tall, so I'm going to make it bigger and drop it in the ground. That way it doesn't look as skinny. Now that looks better. But use your common sense on this. Like for instance, you wouldn't just have the waterfall go into gravel. So I'm gonna have to go into my plan view, zoom in on this thing, and I'm going to add a little bit of a gravel bed around that. I can just select a circle, zoom out, taper it down to match, and that way this looks a little better. We'll just go into stone, scroll down till it looks like cobble bed. There's one I like to use, this one. So we'll make it a little bigger. So now that looks a little more realistic. We can even make this cobble bed have a, oh no, never mind. Okay. Yeah, we can make it have a little border there if we want. Also, speaking of details, it's going to look better if I add a wall cap on here. So instead, I can add a cap by selecting flat. That looks good, but I like the natural one, maybe the rough cut. So I think personally that looks a little bit better, a little more put together. Okay, so sometimes what I do too is if I want pictures from my website or my portfolio that other people see and not the homeowner, I will take this north marker and I will rotate it to whichever degree I feel looks the best for my design or whichever screenshot I'm taking things in, because it doesn't matter the north-south to other people who have never seen the location or don't know the location. So I'll do that to make the sunset work with my design if I'm using it for other areas where I'll have that design going. The next thing I'll do is mess with the stainless steel on design. In landscape design, it's going to be common that you're doing grills. These grills look great, but honestly we can make them look so much better. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on this grill. We're going to edit the materials and go in here till we find the gray. There's the gray. It also shows what's being edited when you click on it. See how the gray shimmers? Okay, so instead of this color, we're going to exit out of here, go here and select picture. From here, I already favorited it, but you can search the word steel, and there's literally an option for stainless steel. So once we do that, look how much better that grill looks. It even has the reflection of the sun in there. So I'll even show you close up. This sucker looks great. So I'm going to do that on all of these, and you can see, not that one, that one. That's the one we're wanting. We don't want it a color, we want it actual picture. I favorited the steel. That's something you should do. So when you go into favorites, you can just click stainless steel, and then that's done. You can make the handles stainless steel too. Might as well try it. Edit materials, go down here to this handle material. We're gonna go, it's already in picture. We can go into favorites and select stainless steel. So now the whole thing is stainless. The fridge, we can select it. The inside's okay, but let's make the outside stainless steel. There it is. So we want a picture, and again, we'll make this thing stainless steel, and that's going to help a whole lot. So now, in a few clicks, that outdoor kitchen is going to look a lot better on a picture or on a video that you send your client or have on your website. Next up, we're going to jump into an advanced part where we add lighting. So we can go down in the sun, turn the landscape down all the way until at some point during the night, we'll just say midnight, and then we can go up here to landscape and add landscape lights. There's tons to choose from. I use these little ones to show what lighting looks like in the wall. See how that's in the wall itself? The ones I use in real life are much smaller, so we can edit this. To me, it's very bright. See how there's a hot spot there? So we can make this, instead of 300, let's make it like 100. That made it elegant. And the beam angle, let's broaden it and leave it at that. So now that we have that, we can copy and paste this and add this into our wall in a couple different locations that are key. And we can also do things like add lighting to the water feature. So let's just add a little light right here, rotate it around to illuminate our little water feature. Let me get a better view on it. I'm going to drop this down so people see it less. And you can even make it small, like it's a micro pond light. I want to make the beam angle brighter, and we can scroll down to define it more this way too. If we rotate X less, it's going to rotate the lighting so it uplights that. I can copy and paste that light, drag it over here, and rotate it on that vase. That way it's doing that. And it's a little bright. See how the wall is just, it doesn't realize that's an object, so it goes through, and that's fine. Instead of 300, let's move it down to maybe like 100. So now at night they can see that that water feature is backlit, and that's super cool. So I would do that. I would also come here and add another landscape light that's some sort of path light. Let's click all and scroll through and find the best one. We could use one of these beacon lights, and the lights in this program are very big, but we can make it whatever we feel is right. So and again, I don't like it being too bright, the light. We can make the beam angle spread out, and that way when someone sees it, everything is lit up. See how that looks so much better? And it allows you to take nighttime videos and nighttime pictures and look like you know what you're doing. So that's another trick to make things look ultra realistic and ultra desirable as far as a backyard goes. This will help you guys a lot. And for some reason I can't fine tune this one, so we're going to jump in the plan view. Just so you know, the plan view I use a lot for fine tuning things. Instantly lets me help get right there where I need it to. So if we let the program sit for a sec, it'll think, and we turn on that global illumination, so it'll show us what things would truly look like at night. There you can see it getting darker and highlighting the lights even better. Pretty cool. From there, you can even make it look more realistic by going and cheating and grabbing a landscape light. And we're just going to grab, let's say this one. We'll drop it right here so you can see. And we're going to do 180-degree rotation, 180. And now we're going to make it be a light for their patio, just as simple as that. So now their patio is lit, and we can go in the plan view, grab this light, center it, copy, paste, and drag it over here so their patio is lit as well. See how much nicer that is going to look if they want to see how things look at night? Okay, so let's jump out of here and make it bright again. We're going to go to maybe 3 o'clock. This next tip isn't going to be a good example. This plan is not a good example of this next tip, but oftentimes, I'll show you an example. Oftentimes in a design, you have one type of material that matches up to another, and let's say it's just 2 different types of gravel. So this one, let's say this is a lawn in a gravel bed, for instance. So this tip is basically going to be called making your lines sharp. So let's say it's a gravel with lawn. That doesn't look good. So instead, I like to make it go from normal edge to being a sharp edge, and that makes your designs just look better overall. If you have 2 different gravels that touch, if you have different areas like a dirt touching something else, that looks good. And then sometimes you can go a step further and add a border. I like to just grab any kind of dark color and then turn down the brightness of it so it looks nearly black. And then we can adjust the width down so it makes a nice clean border. Sometimes that will help your designs look better, like they have a nice steel edge or paver border edge to whatever you're designing. The next tip is going to be thinking through the use of this area. So this was a small yard, obviously, and they wanted this area for seating and this area more for dining and conversations. So what I'm going to realize is these people are just going to be dining in the sun. This is the way that the sun actually sets and they're going to be in the sun all day. So instead, I'm going to add in a pergola that just goes over here and adds shade to their day. So it's all about making that useful type of stuff. Look how much better that is. Just so you know, I added this pergola by going into building, grabbing a column like this guy, and there's my posts. I edited the materials that way. And you can also rotate this post like 90 degrees, and now you have the stuff you need to raise or lower and build a pergola like this. Usually I build a pergola like this and I save it so I can always just copy and paste it into things like this, but look how much better and more inviting that space is with a little shade. And if, again, the global illumination, if we wait a sec, we'll see what that shade really ends up looking like as the program reads where the light's coming from and makes things dim, and there it goes. Do you see it? Looks really nice that way. So it's making sure things are useful, making sure where people are going to be is going to be enjoyable, and how the noise right here is centered. It just looks right to the eye, and that's how a design should be, is to be most functional as possible. Okay, so this next step is the thing I'm most excited for with this update to Real-Time Landscape Architect 2025. It is called path tracing. It is a term used to where the program renders every little path of sunlight and how it bounces off, even much more so than global illumination. So what we do is it allows us to, instead of me going in here and taking a screenshot, I'll show you, like let's say I just go in here and take a screenshot. Blah, blah, blah. We'll save it and open it. Save. Okay. But what's crazy with the screenshot is, let me open this. Okay, so as we zoom into this screenshot, look how blurry it is. See how things are really blurry, and it looks good. It looks a whole lot better than where we started. But if a customer wants to zoom in and be like, oh, what's that couch look like? Or, you know, what's that water feature look like? It's not going to show them much detail, especially in the background. So that's where this path tracing things come in. So you go on, the way you do it is it takes a very advanced screenshot. You go to walk through and you have to click on here and click OK. Now you can hit plus on your keyboard to raise or minus to lower. We can go here, and I'm going to go a little higher, maybe back up a little bit, maybe go a little higher, and we'll just do that. So you can now hit F5 on our thing, and we can type in test. There. So here's what it does. You have to adjust the size. It comes up with this natural size for some reason, which is not good because it'll make it more like a square picture. But what I do is it shows down here this is the highest resolution while maintaining your exact screen frame right here. So I do that. The render style would be normal. I don't want it to look like a colored pencil. It doesn't look great, or painting or color watercolor. No one cares about that. We want things to look real. So normal. And here's the kicker. We use path tracer. And you can use whichever one you want to. But I would like to go with the medium one for now. If I'm rushed on time, I'll do the 32 or the 16. If I have plenty of time and it's a bigger plan and I want to impress someone, I'll go all the way to the max, but it'll take a lot of time. So on medium, this will probably take about 3 or 4 minutes, but I'll time lapse this up for you. So we hit OK, and it's going to take a picture of what we're looking at now. Okay, so our screenshot with the path tracing rendered. So let's open it now. Boom. Do you guys see the difference? Now when we go to zoom in, it's a bigger file, so I gotta wait for it to load fully. Do you see the quality of the shadows? Here, let's open the screenshot. So we went from that to that, that to that. you see the increase in difference here? So not only is it that it made the shadows better, but it brought out a bunch more detail in the way the light hits. It looks much more natural to the eye subconsciously. And here's the cool thing. When we zoom in, we have that resolution that we're looking for. All the way, like we can see this wine bottle. Now if we go all the way over here, look how much detail is in the plants and the water feature at a distance. So this is so much more pixel dense and information dense that anyone could see. Oh, they're like, oh, what kind of tablecloth did we have? Well, you can see. So everything, see how the lights bounce off all the leaves? So the path tracing, the way I was described it from the makers of this program, is that it basically has a knowledge of what's going on, and it sees exactly how light bounces off in different ways and what light would do as far as trace each path of light as it bounces around. So see how like here it looks brighter overall than here at the very corner of the shade in there, but also like this has a bit of reflectivity to it, as it should, because it's bouncing light up from here. So everything looks much more realistic, especially if you compare it to this, which was already good to begin with, to now this. So this is why this design looks so much better now. This is what's so exciting about all this path tracing stuff for sending your clients screenshots. This image is so good, I would be happy to throw this on my website, on my portfolio, to show people what I've designed, because it looks like 10 times the design, to be honest. Next up, let's delete this, and let's say I want to send a customer a video of this plan. I can go into utilities, and I can, let's say I want to just send them a quick video where it pans through the yard like this. So that's going to basically mean that this camera, I can go in here, just so you know, and edit each point and send how it would look, and hit the plus button to raise it, and then do that on the next pen, so on and so forth. By now you probably know that, but that's how you would make it send a video that looks pretty good. Now, for it to do this type of pan on a normal video mode would take about maybe 5 minutes on my computer. But what I'm going to do to make it way higher quality is go to Global Illumination, turn that on, and now that's on there. So it'll tell you, even when you go walk through and tell it to create a movie, it'll give you a warning. It'll say Global Illumination is enabled. This will increase the quality of the movie but take longer to create. So what I do is, if I have a bigger job that's more important to me and I have clients who are picky and want to see a higher end resolution, I will do the Global Illumination while doing videos. The problem is it takes a long time. So if the client's in a hurry, that's not going to work. But usually I'll hit render and let it render all overnight. So instead of it being about 5 minutes, this would take probably 2 to 4 hours to render a video that's just 10 seconds long of it panning through. So it does take a lot longer, but it does make it look really special in a video format. Okay, so this next one is completely optional and it's not necessary by any means. But sometimes I do it to get a little bit extra oomph out of my designs. So what I can do is I can actually open my photo that we saved with the path tracing, and I can open it in Photoshop. And not that I want to make things crazy what they're not, but I do want to do one quick thing where we call sky replacement. So the sky actually looks good in this one, but sometimes they don't look as good. So it's actually really quick and easy. This is a paid program. But anyways, we can make the sky go from blue. It'll think and render the sky, and now it'll put a sunset on that sky just within 2 clicks. So to me, it makes that image a little bit nicer, and we can go through here. We can make it a blue sky, if you will. If we're feeling dark and ominous, we can do something like this one. And you can go through and just pick the one that tends to match the colors and the theme of the design that you have. This is just one extra step. I don't do this on 99% of my designs, but there's a few that I think it's worth doing for. So you can see some obviously don't look good. Some look like a hurricane's about to enter the premises, but Ultimately, I think if you do add these sky replacements on certain instances, it can really help. And there you have it. With these simple tricks, you can turn any landscape design into something special. But I want you to realize this is just the beginning. If you want to see my entire creative process, go to my website, landscapersacademy.com, where I document everything step by step on how I make good designs and don't have to think too much into it. And if you're really truly serious about growing your landscaping or design business, you should consider joining my Landscapers Academy coaching group. This is where I work one-on-one with people to help them grow and scale in their business and win more clients. Simply just go to landscapersacademy.com to check that out. Also, let me know in the comments which of these tips helped you most and if you have any tips of your own. And of course, if this video helped you in any way, please hit the like button, subscribe, and that way you'll see more of my content as soon as it comes out. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.